Here we are in downtown Manhattan on Fifth Avenue with the two great storytellers of the modern world. This is the story of We Want Your Soul, We Want It for Eternity, and this is the story of We Want Your Money, and we'd like it right now.
I will have one, I just don't know which one.
Humans are drawn to owning things, stealing things, trading things, hoarding things, collecting things, because under it all, humans like things.
Why do we shop? To look good, to feel good.
This is hot. I love this color.
Shopping gives us freedom.
I'm trying to reinvent myself.
And defines us. It's a way to impress other people.
It looks nice, nice style.
This, I think, is the person I am.
Some people, they will strive, and this is their piece, and it makes them, they feel they've arrived.
And has become the #1 leisure activity in the United States, next to watching television. But it can go too far and become an obsession.
I knew I had a big problem. I was so busy buying fabric, I never had time to make anything.
Shopping says so much about human psychology that it's even studied by behavioral scientists. Brian Wansink is a professor of consumer economics. He studies the way people shop by carrying out experiments in stores. His subjects are often unaware that he's observing them. For most of us, shopping is an everyday experience, but there's more going on in here than meets the eye. Brian spends a lot of time looking and listening to how we behave in a store. The supermarket is one of the most familiar shopping environments. We spend 36 hours a year in the supermarket, so we think we're in charge. But as Brian Wansink's experiment will prove, we're not as in control as we think we are.
What we're doing today in the store is we've set up some signs to recreate this experiment. What we've done is we've taken an end cap of soup. We have a sign that says, soup, 79 cents. What we'll be doing is we'll be watching how many cans of soup people buy from that end cap. And then what we'll do at intermediate times is we'll switch that with a sign that instead says, soup, 79 cents, limit 12 per person. And we'll see if we find people buying a lot more from the limit 12 sign than from the no limit sign. Based on all the stuff we've done in the past, we're gonna see a big difference.
First, Brian set up the no limit sales sign, and no one paid much attention. But when Brian put up a sign saying limit 12 cans, it was a different story. How did the shoppers account for their sudden enthusiasm for Campbell's soup?
So why did you buy more today? What's going on?
Well, there's the sale, and I thought might as well just stock up. They're not going to go bad, and it's good.
How many cans of soup do you typically buy when you come shopping and you see a sign that says 79 cents?
Oh, I don't usually buy this many, but it's on sale now, so I would buy the limit here.
Okay.
So I'd probably buy about 4 normally.
Well, I bought 8 instead of 4 or 5, so I don't know.
Yes, it worked.
It worked to a degree.
Grabbing a cart to do the weekly shopping may seem simple enough. And you may think that when we navigate our way around the supermarket, we're taking it all in. But we're not. Because the supermarket is one of the most visually complex environments we encounter in our daily life. Our brains cope with it by moving into a different state of consciousness, without us even being aware of it. see how this works, a camera developed by NASA to help their rocket pilots assimilate information inside the cockpit is employed to record how our eyes scan the supermarket environment. The iMark camera records the involuntary movements our eyes make. And when we identify an object, our eyes are instantly doing three things in the following order. Looking for a shape we recognize, then assessing the color, and finally scanning the area around the object. This goes back to our very earliest behavior as humans. We look for shape, we look for color, then we look for danger. There are around 20,000 products on every supermarket aisle, but our brains can only process around 7 pieces of visual information at any one time. We can't take it all in, so we don't. When we shop, we're in what's called beta mode. This is a scientific term meaning we've switched off, gone into subconscious behavior. Have you ever noticed that you don't bump into other people in the supermarket? You're navigating without even thinking. It's like driving a car. If you know the route you're traveling, you don't have to think about it until you encounter something important like traffic lights. Then your brain snaps out of beta mode into what's called alpha mode, when you become fully alert. Relate this behavior to the supermarket, and we can see exactly what happens. When we find the item we're interested in, the pupils in the eye dilate, and the blink rate of the eye increases. The blink rate proves that the conscious mind has been engaged, and we've come out of beta mode into alpha mode. At this point, we go for the product that attracted us. Here's an experiment to prove that people mostly shop in subconscious beta mode. Most of us would expect to notice when something's out of place, or would we? Let's see what happens. Conducting the experiment is John Cox, an expert in shopping psychology. He takes some beer from the beer section and places it on the cereal shelves. He then takes some chocolate and puts it in the cat food shelf. This is how people responded.
Can I ask you, did you notice anything in cereals that was different to normal?
No.
Did you see anything different on the shelf if you passed Kellogg's cornflakes?
I bought some brand things which was on offer. That's
You didn't notice anything different about the shelf today in cornflakes?
No.
What about cat food? Did you buy cat food?
I bought the Kit Kat that was on offer. Kit Kat that was on offer.
Did you see anything in the cat food that was different?
Not really. I didn't know, to be honest.
On the cereals, did you notice anything on the shelf that was different to normal?
No.
No, not at all.
Oh, the cameras were there.
Yeah, but nothing else.
No.
Okay, thanks, Leslie. We proved from the experiment that people didn't notice these products at all. They did remain blind to them. They couldn't see them, they didn't spot them. Nobody that was stopped afterwards could remember seeing anything that we'd placed out of context and within another category.
We simply didn't want to know. And it wasn't just the customers who didn't spot the out-of-place products. Even the staff failed to notice. It seems we like to be spaced out at the grocery store. Most of us make an effort, take time out of our day or evening to shop. Many of us make lists to help us shop efficiently, or so we'd like to believe. Most of us feel more confident and in control when we have a list, but once again, our actions can be the opposite to our intentions.
Most people believe that if they take a shopping list at the grocery store, they'll end up spending less money because they won't buy impulse items. In reality, the opposite is true for many people. When it comes to shopping, do you pretty much stick what's on your list?
Try to. I do try to, but if I see sell items or things like that, then no, I'll go for those too.
People who take shopping lists spend longer shopping in the grocery store People who spend longer shopping in the grocery store tend to buy more items that they didn't plan on buying.
So it seems pretty clear that having a list can backfire. The irony is we spend more money with a list than without one. When we've successfully completed our lists, we reward ourselves with impulse buys. We buy more. Brian Wansink wanted to find out why we often buy more than we need when we go to the supermarket. Is it because we're just plain careless? He went to over 400 homes in search of what he calls cabinet castaways.
It's pretty amusing, some of the things people drag out. In one case, there were some quail eggs that somebody bought, canned quail eggs that they were going to use for a recipe that never came around. In another case, somebody had a can of whale meat. This is whale meat that was left over from rationing time during World War II, and it had actually been passed on from her mother. How long have you had this, marshmallow cream? With the new liquid bottom.
7 or 8 years. You think maybe I ought to throw it out? Yeah.
Or give it to a friend.
No, that was to make candy. There's a recipe for candy that I've been promising myself I would make, and I got it from a friend. And obviously, I've never done it. It's a Christmas, a holiday kind of thing. So, and I think now that it's time to buy another jar and let it sit for another 8 years.
Oh, that is amazing. No, what is this?
It's a beef brisket.
Okay.
But obviously, it's too big for my husband and I.
They didn't have anything bigger you could buy, though, right?
No, that was it. He kind of thought that was a great idea, and he knows we like to have parties, but somehow it's never gotten used, and I really don't even know if I can use it now.
How long has it been in there, do you think?
I think about 1.5 years. I bought it last summer. Yeah. Not this last summer, but the summer before.
We're essentially our own worst enemies. We're the people who think we're going to have a lot of time to make something and we never make it. We're the people who anticipate the number of guests that are going to arrive at our house for a party and never arrive.
If Brian Wansink thinks we're our own worst enemies, what influences our choice of products? Why do we buy and behave in the ways that we do? Much research and study suggests it's all to do with the way products are branded and marketed to us by the manufacturers. Someone who investigates how brands influence customers is Jennifer Chang, who studies marketing at Penn State University.
This is Dempster.
I've been studying 5 households in a suburb north of Chicago over the past 4 years. And very much like an anthropologist, I follow these families around and observe their activities, sometimes participate in them, with the purpose of looking at how they integrate brands into their lives.
Jennifer Chang is studying Pam Rolfe, a housewife who always shops at the same supermarket every week, Dominic's. Like many of us, Pam is attracted by packaging and brands. But there's something more to why Pam likes certain products.
Now, Pam basically power shops through the store. And for her, it's more than just a grocery store. It gives her feelings of accomplishment, that she knows the map of the store and can basically tell you exactly where things are in which aisles. She crosses things off her list quite emphatically as she's shopping and putting them into the cart.
We're almost done.
Pam is very efficient in the supermarket environment. Her decisions are often made for emotional reasons rather than practical ones. Her buying habits are rooted in her childhood. She chooses products that are familiar, products that are safe.
What is it about Jif or Skippy that to you is more preferable than Dominic's or Peter Pan?
Well, because I think those are ones that we grew up with, or that I grew up with. And I can't tell you if we ate Jif or Skippy, but in my mind, that's what I remember as a kid.
So you have a sense that these were ones that
have been there. And I don't remember Peter Pan.
The brand she grew up with is so important to Pam that when she can't find one in the size she needs, it's a problem.
They don't have like Cascade. detergent. They've got this, but this is way too big. I want one this size, only I want it Cascade. And Cascade is something that I grew up with. So it's something
So you
that
wouldn't buy anything else?
I wouldn't. So I don't know what I'm gonna do though today because I really need detergent. And I'm thinking, and they don't have it. Now, what should I do? Maybe I would buy Dominic's today.
So it's interesting because she says she wouldn't buy another brand. And the first thing she thinks of is Dominic's. So there's something about Dominic's that stands out, that familiarity, the store being a brand. So that's actually very interesting. The fact that Cascade is a product that she grew up with. So this is something she's very loyal to, and it's a super brand, in a sense, in her mind.
I don't know the difference between these two.
Eventually, Pam settles for another brand that's the right size.
So this is really going out on a limb, Jennifer.
What you just did is a fling. So you're used to having Cascade.
Right.
And that's the one that's your best buddy that you stick with.
Right.
And yet Cascade's
They
not
didn't have it.
available, the size wasn't available, so you had to settle for the Sunlight. You're having a fling with Sunlight. Until you can
Come back
go
to
back
Cascade.
to Cascade. Exactly.
Do I have to tell Cascade?
Pam is loyal to certain brands, which makes her feel secure. But when she gets home, Pam does a curious thing.
When Pam unpacks her groceries, she unpackages a lot of her products.
All right.
In a sense, to be efficient and to dispose of packaging. But what happens in the household is she's in fact unbranding these products so that these products are stripped away of their packaging. When her kids reach into their roll-out bins to pull out a snack, they don't think of these snacks as Farley fruit snacks, but think of them in terms of mom's snacks.
Pam personalizes the brands she buys, stripping them of their packaging and presenting them to her family as her own.
Oh, you got it.
Every day, we are bombarded with commercials and posters advertising brands. We're the victims of marketing, or are we? Labels are such an icon of the 20th century that the Victoria and Albert Museum in London had an exhibition of big-name brands. At the exhibition is advertising executive Robin Laufer. She thinks labels are a two-way street. We use brands as much as they use us.
Imagine a world without brands. Everyone would have to do the same thing. Everyone would have to wear the same thing. Everyone has a choice of 4,000 brands. Everyone has a choice of buying unbranded items. Brands are not dictated onto people. People choose brands.
We buy brands as a shortcut, a quick way of telling people who we are. For Erin Flanagan-Lazard, buying a new pair of sunglasses is an adventure. It's a fun way of creating a new character.
This, I think, is the person I am.
Those look really good.
Wait, are these better or these? Because I've got to buy a pair right now. Everybody knows this is Prada. I mean, they just do. I really want to be this person. This is who I really want to be. There's something really chic about this, and I like that they're obnoxiously big. I want to be Lenny Kravitz, but I'm not. You know, if you have like a velvet gown, you know, and you put on, like, you running around a store and you put on a wonderful hat, then you feel like that person. And then you'll be in like jeans and flared pants, and it'll be like aristocrat bohemian. I like this skirt. It's like happy. It makes you want to dance. Once again, have that influence of, I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. I'm off, I'm off, I'm off, I'm off. And this reminds me of chestnuts. I don't know why, and it feels really soft. And I like the way this feels. Ooh, sorry. Oh my God, sorry.
Buying the right brand is not just a way of creating a character. It's a way of joining a lifestyle. For shoppers at Nike Town, the brand represents a sports culture that they believe in.
It's a good brand. It's comfortable shoe. It looks nice, nice style.
Today, shoppers are buying a limited special edition sports shoe costing $125.
Check it out. Right now, the Michael Jordans thing came out. Let me show you what they look like. Jordan Retros. All right. You know what I'm saying? These are right here, baby. You know, they only make so many of these, you know. These are limited edition, you know what I'm saying? They only make so many. That's why the store packed, they open up early. You buy these, they cost what, $125? It's not a lot of them. It's not a lot. Michael Jordan, after the day, ain't no more. If you don't get them today, you not get them. They don't make no more. So, that, you know what I'm saying? These are the other ones right here. He can't walk out the store without them on, you know what I'm saying? He's an icon, you know, it's a relic, you know, should I say, to be privileged enough to afford and buy these, and I'm not gonna wear them ever. I'm gonna save them for my kids, and maybe my son getting to high school, I'll give them to him so he can stand out, you know? I think they'll be worth probably about 5 years from now, maybe about $5,000 for these shoes, you know?
Brands are a useful way of telling other people what you're into. Sports, music or lifestyle. Brands are a shorthand. For teenagers like Alex Herman, certain brands of clothes mean you're part of a certain group. This is a young people's code that parents would have absolutely no understanding of.
My parents wouldn't realise what look goes with what, because they're not in touch with the scenes that are around with my friends and with my peers at my age. Most of my friends are into garage music because it's a very young and trendy new scene at the moment. And you've got hip-hop, which is an R&B scene, and very baggy. FUBU's a label associated with R&B and hip-hop. A typical drum and bass boy would wear a hat, maybe a hooded top or a Moschino shirt, maybe with Moschino jeans, maybe Reebok Classic or a pair of Nike Air trainers. It is quite useful in places like clubs when you want to meet someone or talk to someone, you know who's going to be more like yourself. So yeah, you can use it as a tool of your advantage. A lot of drum and bass people wear Moschino. They've got Moschino written all over them. Back across the bum they have an M written there. I get my inspiration from films, like Reservoir Dogs could be the suit look out of that. Nice finish.
They call it comfort.
There's Polo Sport. Calvin Klein like to be associated because in their adverts they've always got slender men with good bodies wearing their jeans. I'd like to think that I'm a Calvin Klein man, if you like.
On average, teenage boys spend around $44 a week on clothes and accessories. Surprisingly, this is more than teenage girls spend. They fork out about $34. The teenage market in the US is worth a staggering $100 billion a year. Being part of the right look starts young. Coco is 13 and on the beginner slopes of shopping. She takes her inspiration from teen magazines. There's not much she doesn't know about shopping anywhere in the world.
I love to go shopping in Rome. Right by the Spanish Steps, they have a little kid shop with all designer clothes for me. That's where I love to go. In Paris, the Le Bon Marché, I loved it there. I loved all the places in Europe to shop. I think what age I felt like I was marketed by companies was when I was 7 years old and the Gap had the Valentine's Day shirts. The little cat shirts with the little tiaras on, you know? I would buy those, and I would love them.
Coco's mother likes to help her daughter shop. It's a regular part of life for Coco, who's going to one of her favourite designer boutiques.
I'm trying to reinvent myself, you know? You can try to reinvent yourself in there and succeed, because they have so many different styles.
Are these the same pants?
They're IKK.
My opinion is meaningless. I'm just here to pay.
Well, I'm trying to look like really cute and like sexy. Because I haven't looked like that in the past.
You don't think?
Do you like this?
No.
I like it.
Okay. I go shopping one way or another almost every day, but with Coco, pretty much every weekend. She loves to go uptown also. And this is our favorite teen shop. Ooh, this is the little Versace outfit. That is very cute on you, Coco, I have to say. Occasionally I like some Versace, but only the couture stuff. The other stuff is a little too trashy for me.
I like it a lot. I would wear it to school with jeans or something. Maybe to party it's good for, but I love the skirt. I think the skirt fits me really nicely. It would look so good in size smaller. You know, to have something from Versace is nice. You know, to have something from like a designer is nice. It's just nice that you feel good. And I know it's not like the anecdote that you want to make you feel good, but it's true.
The bag is Lambert's and Truex. It's very simple, classic.
I think I might buy it, even if it wasn't a Versace top, because it looks good. I think it looks good on me. I think it fits me nicely, and I think it's the fun, frisky top that I want.
It's very stylish, so.
And styles everything for Marielle and Cashmere.
I think she wants pink. What did I add? A jewelry box for Coco's
Tiffany jewelry.
Are you happy?
What Coco learns now will define her behaviour in the luxury shopping world of the future. There is a hierarchy in buying brands. At the top is luxury buying. Shoppers in the expensive shops in Beverly Hills buy accessories that they think reflect their status and which allow them to believe they've arrived. James Twitchell is Professor of English at Florida University and has a keen interest in consumerism, which he sees as being at the epicenter of modern-day culture.
The luxury item announces itself as being the end of the process of buying. That somehow when you get up near the luxury level, you're coming close to the end of choice. It's almost as if you're throwing your hands up and saying, okay, this is it. This is the end. I'm buying the best. In some ways, I can stop listening to different stories. I've arrived. What you're wearing would be, or could you tell me?
Sure. It's Emporio Armani.
Okay. I'm London Foggy. What about your dark glasses?
Lauren. Ralph
Oh,
Lauren.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are, you're the sort of modern woman shopping and
having a good time.
And having a good time.
Right.
Yeah, it's not difficult, is it?
No, not at all.
I know, it's hard for guys. It's easy for girls.
Very easy.
To some degree, I think somebody said you can't buy confidence. Well, I think sometimes you can. I mean, you walk into a meeting wearing a suit and you know that you look good and you know.
Feel good.
And maybe nobody else even knows that, but you know that.
You know, you make an impression, and right or wrong, but the right impression makes me feel good.
Of course it does.
And
sure.
That's very important to me, and I believe that, a lot of times people relate to you differently, and they talk to you differently.
Sure.
And they listen to you differently.
Buying confidence is one thing, but having the confidence to buy is another.
How are you?
I'm Jim.
I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. I've got a problem. I hope you can help me with it.
Okay.
I'd like to get my wife a bag.
Let me see what we are famous for.
Okay.
And this is a classic style, the Alma style, which was originally designed for Coco Chanel to hold some of her things, and it is a classic to this day. Like this bag here is our classic drawstring Noe bag that originally was designed to carry champagne glasses. So when people went out on picnics, they would put 4 champagne glasses in and 1 up, so it was kind of a drawstring little tote for people when they were going on picnics and things. Yeah. That bag is $140, so it's our low price point, entry price point to Louis Vuitton. Okay. And that's probably, for a lot of people who want their first Louis Vuitton bag, this is a good
This is a starter bag. Well, this looks like the one for me. Can I pay for it using the installment plan? Now, would you ever buy something for Shannon?
Well, I just got her started. She bought her first piece.
Oh, this is like her starter.
A starter. It's this little
piece?
starter kit.
Now-
A little starter princess kit.
Now, this is a little embarrassing because I'm a school teacher, but I mean, this is not a $25.
$3.25.
You mentioning it in front of Shannon?
That's right.
She understands?
She understands.
So do you think this is the beginning of a whole transformation of your life? That Alan has started you off with a habit?
I hope not.
Some people, they will strive, and this is their piece, and it makes them, they feel they've arrived. But it's status.
For some people, shopping is a pleasure. It's a way of life. Those people tend to be women. Nikki Novak is on a mission to find some new outfits.
I personally love fashion. I love shopping. I mean, I don't know a woman that doesn't love shopping. My boyfriend and I actually have this argument all the time because he's always saying, you know, can't you just find something new to do? And I'm like, I read books, I do everything, but trust me, I'm not the only one. He thinks it's just me. He doesn't realize that for women, it is a religion. You know, it's funny because people sort of make fun of the fact that women go shopping. But really, I mean, fashion is a way that women express themselves. And especially when you follow one designer and you love that particular designer's clothing and they come out with something new.
Nikki is prepared to spend a lot of time and effort to get it right. As soon as the Chloe collection is off the catwalk and in the store, she's there.
Things go so fast. Basically, I have a really good relationship with the people here in the store. And they just call me when they get everything in, and I come in that day. I mean, they'll call me and I'll be in here in 20 minutes because I know everything goes so fast that I really have to be in here quick. So it's now winter, but I am shopping for spring. I'm being very prepared and very professional. Ah! How adorable is that? It's adorable. And men find it sexy and cute too. I think they appreciate a woman that, you know, can play with fashion a little bit.
It would be pulling the 34.
Right.
I
So
think
you're
it
now
fits
telling
here.
everybody that I need a bigger size? Is that
No,
what
you
you're
need-
doing?
This is just, no,
Because
this size.
it's tough work, I'm telling you. It's rough. Someone's got to do it. It's rough. Now this is the nerve-wracking part, whether or not the credit card goes through. I've made the mistake before of buying things that I just wear once and then I never wear again. So these things I know I'm gonna love and I'm gonna wear them all summer. This has been really successful. This has been really exciting. Because, I mean, I love everything, but this pink outfit is just my favorite. I know it's gonna be my favorite outfit of the summer. So it's, yeah, this was a fun day. Turning over the credit card.
If women shoppers like Nikki are gatherers, then according to evolutionary theory, that would make the male shoppers the hunters. Psychologist David Lewis has been studying the shopping behaviour of men in their 30s.
Women tend to be, as a generalisation, much more cautious shoppers, and they will go around perhaps 5 shops before returning to the shop they first started at and buying the first thing they saw. Now, what they're doing, they're comparing quality and they're comparing price. It's a very sensible way to shop. Men tend to shop, again, as a generalisation, much more like a SWAT team going in to snatch a kidnapped victim, and they'll go in there and they'll get the victim and they'll get out again as quickly as possible. And that's the way men will very often shop.
Taking part in David's experiment is 30-year-old Michael Strang.
What I want when I go shopping is to be able to walk into a shop, see something that I like, try it on, it fits, buy it, go home.
And if David is right, Michael, like most men, will shop in a very no-nonsense manner.
What we're going to do first of all is...
Michael was wired up to monitors recording blood pressure, heart rate, and the hormone cortisol in Michael's saliva. Cortisol is the most accurate way of measuring stress. Producing too much of the hormone can be harmful. He was then asked by David to complete a shopping task along with his young son under a very tight time constraint in one of the busiest shopping streets in London. Michael was also fitted with a camera inside his glasses to record the shopping trip from his point of view.
Okay, great.
Michael's mission is to buy a white T-shirt. and a toy truck for his son.
Gee, on a plain white t-shirt. I just got a white one over here.
15 minutes into the experiment, Michael's blood pressure is well over 160, and the stress hormone cortisol in Michael's bloodstream is also very high. Too much cortisol can be harmful to the body, causing reduced immunity, allergies, and a low sex drive.
A normal, healthy young adult like Michael has probably got a resting blood pressure of about 120/80. Under the stresses of today's shopping, his systolic pressure, which is a very good reflection of how much stress he was under, actually went up very high, and at some points it was well over 150, 160, and that's quite a high blood pressure. Right, so 15 minutes to do the next shopping trip.
Okay, great. Fine.
When you're under stress of this kind, what happens is a very primitive mechanism known as the fight or flight response kicks in. So in a sense, the brain is seeing the shopping expedition as facing a saber-toothed tiger.
Ours. Yeah, we'll get you one. We're just looking for a good one.
When we're stressed, it does significantly affect our decision-making potential. In very extreme cases, it can make us behave in an entirely irrational way. You just want to get out of the situation as fast as possible, and therefore you will grab the first thing that comes to hand. You won't ask the right questions of the shop assistant. You won't find out if it's exactly going to meet your requirements.
Right, Michael. How many things have you bought?
Just the T-shirt and the tractor.
What did David conclude and prove from the Michael experiment and the rest of his stress shopping research?
In some of the examples which I've had from my research, we've had, for example, blood pressure and heart rates, the equivalent of a combat pilot flying into action or a riot policeman facing an angry mob.
So it turns out, for Michael, that shopping isn't just a chore, it's a health hazard. His cortisol and blood pressure levels remained high for the rest of the day. For those who love to shop, shopping's great. It's a way of being with other people, having fun and expressing ourselves. But there is a downside. For some people, shopping grows from a pleasure to an obsession.
Compulsive shopping would fit in there with other impulse control disorders like compulsive eating or compulsive drinking, compulsive gambling, sort of the same general criteria where a person will feel preoccupied much of the time with thoughts of buying, find themselves spending more than they bargained, more than they budgeted for, or buying clearly in excess of what they need.
Dr. Heidi Hartston runs a therapy group for shopaholics.
There are lots of things like it, but shopping is definitely one thing where you can see something that you want and put your credit card on the table and get it. And a lot of people derive a powerful feeling or sense of control there when they don't have a sense of control in other aspects of their lives.
Heidi runs a therapy group. We have protected her clients' identities.
I don't have any place to put the anger or the sadness or whatever, and so I go shopping, and that fills that hole that's in my soul. When I buy something, I actually physical changes, like, my heart races and I start to sweat, and I just think I'm going to die until I hold it and possess it.
Most sufferers are women, but as Dr. Heidi Hartston's therapy group shows, men too can be shopaholics.
I tend to use shopping as an excuse to distract myself from doing other things. I'm a lawyer, and when I leave the office because I feel claustrophobic, I'm feeling lonely. I want to share something with somebody. The thing that I'll buy, I'm going to share with somebody in the future. I'll listen to the music with somebody. I'll watch the video with somebody. We'll discuss a book. And I guess I'm lonely.
Compulsive shopping is about the buzz of buying and the buzz of owning. There's a lot of power in buying. You walk in with a credit card to any store and you can have anything you want. You can walk out of there with anything, and that's a very powerful feeling.
This is Ada, who lives in Cupertino, California. Ada has bought so much that she has had to build a garage to house her shopping.
This is my delight room and my problem room. I'm a compulsive shopper. I knew I had a big problem when I couldn't stop buying things that I was interested in. I now have enough fabric from every place in the world, it seems like, that I could probably sew or make things for the next millennia, if I could live that long, and still would have fabric left over. Buttons. When fabric stores were going out of business, they were very, very heavily discounted for like a dime or so a card. And I basically bought whatever they had that I thought would be pretty.
All these things Ada bought, she believed would make her happy. On the other side of the Atlantic, Vivian O'Callaghan is also a compulsive shopper. But her story gives a glimpse of the darker side.
I'm in the shops most of the time, and there's always something I can buy, whether it be something for the house or something for the baby, something for me. There's no discerning with my shopping. I could go into anywhere and buy absolutely anything. You see the shops either side, and you get to see the people going in empty-handed and coming out with their bags of shopping, and everyone's like happy because they're shopping, and I like that vibe. I fit in. I want this, I want that. And these things will make me feel better. They'll make me look better, they'll make me sound better. I will be better. I know that these things don't, but it doesn't stop the want. I'm disappointed about the things I've bought, not because they're not nice things, they're nice things. But as you can see from, you know, a nice thing, why do I have a brand new sofa and the walls haven't been finished decorated, and things like that. You know, you can't hide peeled wallpaper with a nice sofa. I'm too scared to sit down and work out what comes in and what I spend out. I haven't really sort of, that's too much. That would mean too much looking into my illness.
The addictive nature of Vivian's illness is similar to having a drug abuse, alcohol, or eating problem. These are all obsessive disorders. So how do you become a shopaholic? Some people may have more of a biological tendency towards obsessive behaviour, but all sorts of personal or relationship problems can trigger it off.
People are losing, you know, their spouses, their families, their homes, declaring bankruptcy, and it's causing wreckage in people's lives.
Vivian had alcohol and gambling problems before she became a shopaholic. Her shopping addiction led to the breakup of her marriage.
When we got together, we had 2 wages coming in, which was good, and sometimes we'd go out and she'd spend all my wages in sort of one afternoon. It wasn't until we were married and had Sam, had our son. She wasn't working, so there was only one income coming in, and then it became more obvious that when she wanted to spend some money and I said no or tried to talk her out of it, she ended up spending it anyway.
Vivian's spending got so out of control that her husband left her.
It was the hopelessness about the spending. It sort of got to me, and I've run out of space in my head for it, space in my head for the problem, space in my head for the answer, and I just, in the end, I decided to leave.
Vivian's addiction has run up a debt equivalent to $35,000. But Vivian hasn't kicked her habit. She's still shopping.
I want to buy a top.
You want to buy a top?
Yeah. I've seen one I want. I'm going in. Ooh, buzz. Okay, it started. This is where it starts. You see, it starts with one little thing for £1 each, and then it gets bigger. But I saw it, I wanted it. It's a high. It's a high. It's like we could have gone to the pub and had a few drinks, and I'd have that sort of same rosy glow, except felt worse in the morning for like the drink. Now I'll feel worse in the morning. It'll be a dry hangover from the shopping, but I'll justify it when I wear it and I feel great in it. And if anybody happens to comment and say I look nice as well, that will just add to, oh, well, it was okay. And everything else has been pushed aside now. Bankruptcy, any thought of paying bankruptcy, any thought of controlling my spending, completely out the window. If I don't think too much about it, this is a nice high.
Vivian can't stop shopping. But for Ada, help is at hand. Trials have begun on a new drug, which may help people with her problem. When someone has an obsessive-compulsive disorder, one of the causes can be due to a lack of the chemical in the brain called serotonin. Not having enough serotonin has been linked with depression, and medication in the form of an antidepressant can be prescribed to improve the uptake of serotonin to the brain. The drug is a member of the Prozac family. For Ada, it was a relief to discover her obsession was treatable.
Now that I've had the medication, I don't have a problem walking through the mall. I can see stuff in the mall, I can appreciate it, I can see stuff that I know other people will like or will remind me of someone, but I don't have to buy it anymore. Now I have the choice, and now I feel more normal.
Consumerism has reached such proportions that for some people it's an illness. We buy more than we could possibly ever need, and rarely do we stop to think about it. The New York Voluntary Simplicity community meet to discuss.
We are living in Never Never Land here. I mean, we are 5% of the planet's population, and we consume 1/3 of its resources. I mean, we're really being pigs about the way we live.
We also have in the culture this whole idea of being good to yourself and you deserve. I mean, it's a major part of our advertising, right? You deserve, you deserve, you deserve.
I'm a consumer who shops every day. And I go to one place for one thing, another place for another thing. And it's a daily, I spend quite a bit of time going to get food.
I think that the ritual aspect is enormous because most of us don't go to churches or mosques or synagogues or temples or whatever it is. And you need that. I don't think you can live as a human being. I mean, there is such a craving for ritual, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
That if you don't do it one way, you're going to do it another way.
Right.
They may have a point, but we all do it. Our wardrobes are full of clothes we no longer wear or never wore. Wealthy, fashion-conscious Americans alone spend $116 billion buying the spring collection, then the autumn collection, and repeating the process the following year. We buy nearly 750,000 tons of food a day, 365 days a year, much of which we throw away. We waste 200,000 tons of edible food a day. But, love it or hate it, being a consumer means being part of society. The main street and the shopping mall are where we meet other people, where we go to see and be seen. It's 21st century community. Nothing unites us more all around the globe than the international brands we wear. Nothing says more about who we are and who we want to be than what we buy. One thing is for sure, we just can't get enough of it. We love to shop. Rain or shine, we're out there, every day, shopping.